Okay, so imagine this for a moment. You wake up tomorrow, and every decision around you is already being shaped. What you see, what you read, what you're recommended, what you're allowed to access. Not by people, but by systems you don't fully understand. Now, here's the part that matters. You're already living in that world. You use artificial intelligence every day when you search on Google, when you open Instagram, when you send a message to ChatGPT. But there are things that companies building this technology would rather you didn't fully understand. Not conspiracies, real data from institutions like the UN, Stanford, and the International Energy Agency that show what's actually happening behind the systems we use. And one question that's becoming harder to ignore: who controls AI and at what cost? Number one, every time you use ChatGPT, you may be consuming the equivalent of a bottle of water. According to analyses reported by sources like National Geographic and academic research from the University of California, Riverside, generating a short AI response around 100 words can require roughly 500 milliliters of water on average, about a bottle. This isn't exact for every query, and estimates vary depending on infrastructure, but the mechanism is real. Data centers generate massive amounts of heat. To prevent overheating, many use cooling systems that rely on fresh water. That water often evaporates, and in many systems, it isn't recovered. One joint analysis by the Washington Post and researchers estimated that if just 10% of US workers used AI once a week for a year, the water consumption could reach hundreds of millions of liters. And that's a fraction of global usage, because today, AI isn't used occasionally, it's used at scale. Number two, AI could already be generating emissions comparable to a major city. A study published in Patterns suggested that by 2025, AI-related infrastructure could produce emissions on the scale of a large city like New York, tens of millions of tons of CO2. But here's where it gets complicated. Exact numbers are difficult to verify. Most major tech companies, including Google, Meta, and Microsoft, do not publish detailed system-specific environmental metrics for their AI models. We know the trend. We don't know the full picture. The International Energy Agency has confirmed something else. A single AI query can consume significantly more energy than a traditional web search. Not always 10x in every case, but consistently higher. And that difference scales fast. Number three, Amazon built a hiring AI that showed bias against women and kept it internal for years. This is not speculation. It was revealed by Reuters. Amazon developed an internal AI system to evaluate job candidates. It was trained on years of historical hiring data. The problem: the tech industry had been historically male-dominated. The system learned that pattern. According to reports, it began penalizing resumes that included terms associated with women and downgraded graduates from women-only colleges. Amazon eventually shut the system down, but it was never deployed publicly and wasn't widely known until it was investigated externally. The 2024 Stanford AI Index highlights a broader issue. There is still no standardized way to evaluate fairness across AI systems, which means in many cases, we can't reliably measure whether an algorithm is being fair. Number four, government algorithms have been found targeting vulnerable populations. In late 2024, investigations revealed that systems used in parts of Europe to detect social benefit fraud were disproportionately flagging lower-income individuals, not necessarily because they were more likely to commit fraud, but because the system learned from historical patterns. Similar concerns were raised in countries like France. The UN Development Program documented this effect clearly. When historical data contains inequality, AI systems can reproduce and sometimes amplify that inequality. Not intentionally, but structurally. And that distinction matters, because the outcome is the same. Number five, AI now outperforms humans in many benchmarks, but that doesn't mean what it sounds like. According to Stanford's AI Index, Modern AI systems outperform humans in several standardized tests: language understanding, pattern recognition, multitask benchmarks. Some models exceed 80% accuracy on widely used evaluations like MMLU. But there's a critical detail. These systems are often optimized for those exact tests. The same report states that AI still struggles with advanced reasoning, complex planning, abstract problem solving. And there's another layer. Many benchmarks are designed by researchers connected to the same ecosystem building the models. So the question isn't just performance, it's what we're actually measuring. Number 6. AI is driving a massive surge in energy demand, including nuclear. In 2023, Microsoft signed agreements related to energy sourcing that included nuclear infrastructure, highlighting how far companies are willing to go to meet AI demand. The International Energy Agency estimates that data center electricity consumption could more than double by 2030, reaching levels comparable to entire countries. And this isn't theoretical. In places like Ireland, data centers already represent a significant portion of national electricity use. Companies have made sustainability commitments, but progress has been uneven, and demand continues to grow faster than solutions. Number 7. AI is already making decisions about your life, often without transparency. Today, AI systems are used in medical assessments, credit scoring, hiring processes, legal support systems, public surveillance. In many cases, there is human oversight, but not always meaningful oversight. Reports from organizations like Amnesty International have raised concerns about black box systems, decisions made without clear explanations, which leads to a difficult situation. An algorithm can deny you a loan, flag you for investigation, filter you out of a job process, and you may never know exactly why. Regulations like the EU AI Act aim to address this, but globally, rules are still inconsistent or non-existent. Number 8. AI and human psychology are starting to overlap in unpredictable ways. There have been cases, still under legal and academic review, where AI systems were accused of contributing to harmful emotional dynamics. These cases are complex and not fully resolved, but they point to a broader issue. People are forming emotional connections with AI systems, sometimes deeply. Researchers like Max Tegmark have warned that as these systems become more advanced, their psychological impact will grow. This isn't about intent, it's about interaction and the scale at which it's happening. Number 9. Most companies using AI don't fully understand the systems they've deployed. Adoption is accelerating fast. Over half of companies now use generative AI in some form. Investment is rising, budgets are shifting, but surveys show that many organizations still struggle with accuracy, data privacy, cost control, and more importantly, understanding how their systems actually behave. In many cases, AI is being implemented faster than it's being understood, which creates a gap between capabilities and control. Number 10. AI-driven financial decisions can reflect hidden biases. Cases like the Apple Card controversy showed how algorithmic decisions can produce unequal outcomes, even without explicitly using sensitive variables like gender. These systems rely on patterns, and patterns can carry bias indirectly. This is known as proxy discrimination, and in many jurisdictions, it's not clearly regulated, which means decisions affecting real people can be influenced by variables they were never told about. Number 11. The AI boom may be more unstable than it looks. Companies like NVIDIA became central to the AI revolution because their hardware powers most modern models. At one point, it became the most valuable company in the world. But market shifts have already shown volatility. Experts have pointed out a growing gap between expectations and real-world implementation. At the same time, the internet is being flooded with AI-generated content, so much so that even Merriam-Webster highlighted the rise of the term slop to describe low-quality, mass-produced AI content,
not as a theory, as a cultural signal. Number 12. AI is learning from your behavior even when you're not actively using it. AI systems improved through data, and that data comes from what you search, what you write, what you watch, what you click. Cybersecurity firms like Kaspersky warn that AI-powered scams and deepfakes are becoming more accessible, lower cost, lower technical barrier, higher scale, which creates a new environment, one where information can no longer be assumed to be real by default.
Number 13.
The impact on jobs is more complex than the headlines suggest. Some reports suggest AI will create new jobs. Others highlight displacement. The reality is both. Organizations like the World Economic Forum note that companies are increasingly focusing on reskilling workers, but often that means shifting roles towards supervising AI systems, not doing the original work. At the same time, the cost of developing advanced AI models continues to rise, reaching billions of dollars, which concentrates power in fewer companies, fewer players, with more control. None of this means AI is inherently bad. It means it's powerful. And power without transparency, without regulation, without clear understanding, always comes with consequences. We pay for it in water, in energy, in data, in decisions made about our lives. The question isn't whether to use AI. The question is, are we willing to understand it, to question it, to demand accountability? Because the cost is real, and it doesn't disappear. It just becomes invisible. And remember, the universe doesn't reveal its secrets to those who rush. It reveals them to those who know how to look. Subscribe, and keep listening to the silence.